Welcome to the Amazon's podcast. I'm Glenn Young, owner of Amazon's Fitness Magazine. Celebrate the female physique. Subscribe to Amazon'sFitMag.com. The podcast is brought to you by GPS Photography and Video. Why photography and video? Because of a photo's worth 1,000 words, video's worth 1,000,000. GPSPhotoandVideo.com. My guest back on the podcast, once again, IFBB Figure Pro, Amanda Almodovar. And Amanda, glad that you come back on. How are things in Texas? You had recently moved to Texas and down there teaching. How are things down there?
Life's been crazy. It's been fruitful since we've last talked. I think when we checked in, man, was it like a couple months after I
Yeah,
moved? Yeah.
yeah.
So, went from kindergarten to teaching fourth grade. So that's been very eye-opening. Very
Well,
cool to see the jump in grade levels, but very humbling for
uh-huh.
sure. They're not the littles. So, yeah, just kind of been navigating those waters in terms of how to best give them instruction. And then training has obviously been taking a big change here as I made that decision. So, and I know obviously we'll talk a lot about that.
Hmm.
But
And of
yeah, it's
course,
been an interesting year to say the least. I
yeah.
could genuinely say everything has changed for the better, for sure.
Mhm.
But yeah, it's just been an interesting process of emotions trying to just navigate it all at the same time.
Yeah, I teach high school, of course. Going into the last week, I think y'all we were talking earlier about we're pretty much on the same schedule. So get these finals out the way. I'll be so glad to be done with this semester because every semester it is what it is. It's different.
Hmm.
Every day is different in
Yep.
the teaching world. Doesn't matter what grade you got. I mean, it is what it is. So
High
how
school,
much?
God bless you. Oof.
Yeah, yeah. Phew.
Jeez, couldn't be me.
Yeah.
That's why it's got to be you.
How much different is the weather? Because of course it's freezing here.
Yeah, it's freezing over there. My mom's like sending me videos of snow and everything. Over here, it's 70 and sunny right now.
Wow.
So it's definitely throwing me off in terms of holidays. Like
Hmm.
everyone's wearing Christmas things over here, and we have like, things going on in the school. And I'm like, it doesn't feel that way because I'm used to walking outside and being freezing.
Hmm.
But it's definitely nice. I mean, the kids are outside for recess literally every day, and it's still mid-December. So that's nice as far as getting their energy out.
Yeah.
But yeah.
So you made a post. You made the decision that you are not competing anymore. Talk to me about that. What brought you to the decision? Now that the schedule's out, has that changed your mind? Um, give me your opinion and how you're feeling.
Yeah. I think this is actually maybe the second podcast I've been on since that announcement. The one was a little less informal and less focused on bodybuilding and more of my faith journey. But yeah, I'll preface this all with the fact that I know that everyone obviously is not excited about this decision. I know there's people that are, right? Because they're happy.
Mhm.
They know that it's the best for me. But I also know there are many friends, fans of the sport who loved seeing me get on stage and loved that season of my life. And so it is difficult, of course. I've been really juggling the excitement of stepping into a new season, knowing that it's the best decision for me, but then also feeling that disappointment of letting those people down, right? Because I care for wanting to just follow exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. And for such a long period of my life, for 9 years, it was the stage of bodybuilding. And, I don't have any regrets in terms of what I've done in my career in the IFBB. However, it's been kind of like a long burning, I want to say, like, lack of desire for me that I continue to push because I did love it for so long. I was used to it for so long, and I knew there were a lot of people rooting behind me. So
Mhm.
this last prep was a difficult one for me. Obviously, everyone knows I was traveling cross country. I didn't even know I was going to move. I ended up moving. Like life was just up in the air, and I really was staying in prayer a lot over the Lord just establishing my next steps.
Mhm.
I knew that New York was a dead end for me. I knew that I had to close that door in that season of my life. all of that to say I had no idea what I was stepping into, and I had no idea what he wanted for me. But what I did know is that the command was to go. So I left New York. I was still in the midst of my prep to get on the stage for the show in Seattle. I had left my last coach because things just weren't working out. And so I had called Justin, and that's when Justin and I had decided, okay, we're a couple weeks out of Seattle. I had told him I've basically been in prep for almost a year now. I would hate to just not step on stage after all of the work that I've done, especially that I did it in amidst, that huge move and life changes. So Justin was on board. He was extremely excited to take me on. He is literally the best coach I've had in my career, and I've had 3, but, like, he is incredible, and I think obviously that was even made the decision for me more challenging because I had
Mhm.
finally found someone who understood my body, understood my mindset, and my faith at the same time, and was not willing to, cross any boundaries that I was not willing to cross. So Justin and I ended up finishing out that prep, but throughout the prep, I just found myself not as in love with it as I once was in terms of, I enjoyed the suffering, but I was more so thinking about what life would look like when it was over. As opposed to 9 years in the past, I was more excited of, getting there and doing the whole shebang and being, blitzed and glammed
Mhm.
and essentially like tying myself to that desire for the attention and the audience. And so I found myself kind of pulling away from that desire and more so kind of inwardly being like, I am at peace and happiness behind privacy, behind my closed doors, fully clothed, just all of those things. However, of course, training is the one and only reason I ever got into the sport.
Mhm.
So what kept me was the training. However, what made me truly walk away most is one, I just felt convicted in many ways in terms of, forever displaying my body and that being the sole thing that people saw. Um, and also just the fact that it was a challenge in terms of I had to really put down the reason why I started in the first place was which was training heavy and hard. Obviously, I'm in the figure division. People were always asking me questions and still do now, like, "Oh, are you women's physique? Are you gonna go up?"
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
I was kind of teetering on that line of where I wasn't looking figure anymore, and that was with me withholding a lot of my training. I dropped down leg days to one time. I stopped, training as hard and heavy as I was supposed to because really at that point, the judge's feedback from Sandy from Seattle was get tighter. And at that
Mhm.
point, I was doing crazy amounts of cardio, really. And again, it wasn't an ideal opportunity for me to prep. I think that had a lot to do with why I didn't get fully conditioned the way I should have in terms of stress and all the things, right? But, I had pulled up, almost refraining myself and restricting myself for a year to be told it wasn't enough and I had to keep going. And at that point, I mean, getting that feedback, I looked at Justin and I was like, there was no way I would have kept going. There was no way I would have held for another week, another 2 weeks. Was that because I was in prep for so long? Sure, that could have burnt me out. But at the
Mhm.
end of the day, now putting my brain in that lens of, okay, what does this next off season look like for us staying in the figure division? And what that looked like was peeling back training a lot, adding in a lot of running for me to atrophy kind of my legs because I'm very bottom heavy. I look like I have wellness legs.
Yeah.
Not
You
training them, yeah, not training them as hard, not being that animal that I fell in love with the sport to become. So it almost felt like I was being put in a cage, realistically, to fit a criteria that I just felt like my body really wasn't wanting to fit
Mhm.
anymore. Like those years, I almost knew that, but I kept doing because I wanted to. And at this point, there was far more for me at stake in terms of my mental health, in terms of my fertility, in terms of my love for the grit of training, that I wasn't willing to sacrifice that anymore. And so it was a long dragged out decision. Nobody knows, but when I stepped on that stage in Seattle, it was confirmed for me. I placed 10th. And in years past, that would have destroyed me. Like, I would have went instantly back to the drawing
Mhm.
board. I would have, scrapped and been ready to just go full throttle into an off season. And when I stepped off, it was just kind of my confirmation of like, this is just not the niche that I want to continuously pursue and lay down my true passion of, training and being the fullness of who I am in terms of personality year round, and, not having that consistent hanger pain, and being almost a small percentage of who I am as a teacher to my students and all of the things. So, a very long-winded way to say that, in many aspects, it was just the right decision for me. And I know that, again, there's people that are like, "Oh, we want to see you on stage once more. Maybe you'll
Mhm.
change your mind." And yeah, the schedule's dropping, and it's obviously when I open my feed, it's all competitors at nationals. And do I get that feeling that I'll change my mind? Unfortunately, I don't.
Mhm.
I feel like I've really made a bold decision, one of which many people would not have made, and I'm not afraid of that. And at the end of the day, do I reminisce on my days, right? And be like, "Oh, I remember this or remember that." Yes.
Mhm.
Does it make me sad to feel like, I'll never have that feeling again? Sure. But I know for a fact the Lord has confirmed that this is for a greater purpose and for a greater season that is yet to come. And yeah, I'm just excited to kind of just be training without limits and without chains and without trying to fit a criteria, but really just letting my body finally, once and for all, do what it wants to do,
Right.
and not essentially what it needs to for the criteria of a judges panel. So yeah, it's been an interesting journey, but I think that I've found myself a lot in letting go of things that just didn't serve my life in the next season, and that's okay. There's a
Mhm.
lot of people that, their first question is, what went wrong? Like, what's wrong? What happened? Like, you're not healthy? Is it your blood
Mhm.
work?
Yeah,
Like,
that's
and I think
exactly it. Yeah.
I exactly, and I think there's something to be said about there's nothing that went wrong, but I know this is right, and that's okay. And I think that people just can't fathom how you could lay down, essentially being on a throne, right, in front of thousands, in front under the lights. Like I had someone
Mhm.
the other day. I've just recently picked up some powerlifting, training techniques and all the things. So I'm like, now I'm just training for strength. And I was in the gym and this guy approached me and he was like, "So you," because I was wearing my pro belt as I
Mhm.
was doing squats, and he's like, "So you put down being like a top level pro bodybuilder to be in a new sport and back at the bottom of the barrel." Like, and I said, "Yep, I did." I
Mhm.
said, "That's humility, and I'm loving the process of learning something all over again, where I feel like my heart is content in it." And I think that people can't bring themselves to think, right, whether it be from our ego or whether it be from our pride, that someone would step away essentially from the spotlight and the attention of thousands. And I did, and I would
Mhm.
do it all over again because I know in my heart that it was the right decision. So, yeah, that's where I'm at. Um,
Mhm.
it's been a journey, and I can't sit here and lie and be like it's all sunshine and rainbows. It was my identity for 9 years.
Mhm.
So there's mornings I wake up and I'm like processing that decision that I made. Like this next year, I won't be planning, a prep period for
Mhm.
bodybuilding. Who's to say I won't for something else?
Right.
But it's been wild, and I think that for me and for many other competitors, we don't realize how much we truly idolize the sport, and that can be a very scary place to be when we, make it a god itself.
Right.
Because if there's something you have that you can't let go or release of overnight, it's now become an idol and a priority over what really you're supposed to be prioritizing, whether it be the Lord, whether it be family, whether it be, actual genuine moments with community and people around you. I was then placing it at, what am I going to look like on a stage in front of
Mhm.
strangers, essentially? And so I really kind of had to refix my mindset and focus from elite athlete in that realm to now, human, future mother, future wife, wanting to be the best quality teacher I can be for my new students.
Mhm.
My mindset and my priorities just had to shift in that way, and it came with a lot of humility, a lot of surrender. That was not easy. It was very painful, and it still is. But
Mhm.
I think we need to a little bit, focus in on people don't have to have something wrong to put something that they love down. I mean, it goes for sports, it goes for relationships. I mean, I know for me, I've been in relationships where I loved the person, but I knew it wasn't best for my future. So what did I
Right.
have to do? I had to lay it down. And did it feel good at the time? No. Did I feel like I was maybe making a mistake in the moment? Sure, because of course your mind wants to go back to what you know. But at the end of the day, I think people just need to realize things in life serve a purpose for a season, but they might
Mhm.
not serve it for the next. And so we just really have to be better at understanding that things don't have to go wrong. You know, I don't have to have a mental crash out. I don't have to have crazy blood work going wrong. My leg broke. You know, me and my coach got
Yeah.
into a fight. Like people are waiting for the drama of it
Yeah.
when in reality it's we should celebrate people being at peace with decisions that are not easy, that they are bold, and help them in moving forward. And I'm very blessed that I've had a lot of people doing that for me. So
And I think the biggest part of it was is you were such on a high. You were the next big thing.
mm,
You had made some incredible strides, and everybody was looking. When you look at from your YouTube channel to your content, and it's like, man, she's gonna be it.
mhm,
And then you always got to do what's best for you.
mhm.
And it's good to know that it wasn't a health thing, it wasn't a blood work thing, or some other kind of social drama. But what did you talk with your coach prior to this? Did you talk to your family?
Yeah.
What all went into it? Talk to me.
Yeah, so I mean, in my nature, everybody knows I kind of just stay quiet. I do my own thing. I stay in my
Mhm.
lane. I don't post X weeks out, my check-in photos. Like
Yeah.
it's me, my coach, and the people that I love in my close circle. And so they had seen and known. I mean, my family knows that I wasn't the fullness of Amanda during those preps, especially the last one. I was
Hmm.
extremely exhausted. I was extremely worn out, not just in bodybuilding, but in life in general. And so the first person I told was, of course, my mom. And I was actually, I was worried that I was going to disappoint her because she knows how much I love it. But instantly she was like, you need to do what's right for you, your future, and your future babies, if that's such a
Right.
burning desire on your heart. And so hearing that from her gave me confidence to make that decision. I then reached out to James, who shot me for a long time. Obviously,
Yep.
a lot of the content that we made
Yep.
was him and I, and we went from client to like family. I would take bullets
Right.
for him and his family members, his kids. Like our families have just meshed. We've had dinners together. Like, so it's almost like he's a father figure for me. I reached out to him and told him. And of course, he was like, wow, like this is, but of course, he saw how I was towards the end. So I think, another thing to take away from this is
Yeah.
what things look like on social media is not what it looks like behind closed doors.
Exactly.
And so when people see, me on stage and all of the things, they think that, that's kind of all I amount to. When in reality, no one sees what's happening behind closed doors and how much you're really sacrificing beyond the food, beyond the training, beyond the
Mhm.
cardio, what you're sacrificing in your personal life to make that happen. Um, so thankfully, obviously, my loved ones were cheering the loudest because they know that laying that down meant receiving back the fullness of who I am,
Right.
my personality, my, giddiness, my silliness, my playfulness. It was no longer, robot mode. And they
Mm.
celebrated that for sure. And then obviously, I reached out to my coach. My coach is a very firm believer as well. Him and his wife, Carly. Carly's actually an ex-figure pro, an
Mhm.
Olympian. She made the same decision to walk away for the sake of her faith, for the sake of what she knew was right, and what the Lord was confirming in her life. And so I had several conversations with her in that regard. And then I basically told Justin, like the hardest part was walking away, as you said, when I was at the pinnacle. Like
Mhm.
it was the big breath before the next step that I know, really could have been a season of making waves in worldly desired things, right? In the
Right.
attention and the following and the content and all of these tangible things. But was it the best move for me emotionally and for my future? I knew that it wasn't. And so it was hard because I've told everyone I stepped away when I was going to have my best physique to date. when I had the best coach I've ever had, who knows my body best, who was ready to run through the fire with me. I had the supporting system. I had my sponsors, Animal and Gas, behind me fully, and I still walked away. And I think that that's just, a true testimony to how much my heart and soul knew that it wasn't it, and how much, I wasn't willing to sacrifice what I was being confirmed from the audience of one versus the audience of thousands. And I think, if you know me as a person, people know that I'm not looking for the validation of people. The content that I've made is solely to help other people. It's not for vain reasons. There's been a lot of times I've asked the Lord to check my heart and my heart posture in terms of, was I posting those things for vanity? Was it all about me? Was I actually glorifying Him and not myself? So that
Right.
was a contradiction battle that I was really struggling with also. But yeah, in the end, Justin was extremely proud. He's like, obviously, I'm sad. He's like, because you were literally one of the best athletes on my roster. And I know that we would have done some serious damage in the league.
Mm-hmm.
And we never had a full off season together. He picked me up literally 6 weeks out of prep, out of show. So I think in his heart, just like in mine, that thought of the potential of what we could have done absolutely is going to be disappointing. But in the end of the day, he's like, I love you as a human and I'm always going to support you and ride for you. And he's still doing my nutrition planning now. Like I'm getting blood work, sending it back to him.
Mm-hmm.
And we're just, on a friend basis now, which is just a beautiful thing to have. So yeah, I mean, those people saw me as Amanda, not just IFBB Pro, in the figure division. And I think for those people, I made the decision, of course, for me, but I also made it for them because I know that I can't be the fullness of me if I just continue to hold on to this, desire or dream when I know in reality, if I have to genuinely put the truth out, like I just turned 28, right? My
Mm-hmm.
ultimate goal is to be a mother in life and to do it well and to be healthy, and that would mean essentially, what I have a couple years left in general, right, before putting it down. And that would be if
Mm-hmm.
my heart and soul was in it to chase that, and it's not. So that's when I knew, okay, what I would have another like 2 or 3 good years in me to try and run the rack at what expense, financially, emotionally, mentally, and physically. My body just didn't want to do it anymore. So, yeah, I mean, it's been beautiful support for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But it's been a bounce back, right? There's days where I'm struggling with body dysmorphia of, I'll never see myself like 5% again, right? And so that's a struggle that I'm
Yeah.
dealing with, and just kind of bringing to the Lord. But yeah, I think it's been a season that's been extremely fruitful. And while I'm very excited and at peace because I know it was right, that doesn't
Mm-hmm.
mean that I'm not gonna mourn that season of my life, and rightfully so, right?
Yeah.
So it's been a roller coaster. I'm just letting the feelings come and go as they pass, and just remembering truly at the end of it, like our life is not ours.
Yeah.
So what does this
And
next
I'm
season
sorry
look
because
like?
I froze, so I don't know what's going on with it, but you're still good.
Okay, good.
That's the main thing
Yes.
because nobody wants to see me anyway. But, but yeah, it was a shock from a fan perspective and getting to
Mhm,
know you and seeing you at the top, and you're still at the top. Let's be clear. And the
mhm,
thing about it, many people will say you risk losing sponsors. You haven't. You risk losing followers. You haven't.
mhm,
You got a very strong YouTube channel and everything. And so, hey, at the end of the day, you got to do you and you got to look out for you. And when you talk about your health and wanting to have children and everything, um, it's not worth it,
mhm,
right? Because there's so many women that are making the sacrifice, and at the end of the day, um, they won't be able to have children, and you have so many regrets. And
mhm,
I think it's definitely the sport is definitely harder on women, and that's just the way it is. But at the end of the day, you make the best decision for you.
mhm.
And when you look at it, and I gotta plug up my laptop. Hang on.
I know, you know what's funny? I do too, but perfect because I have one right here.
There you go.
Thank goodness you said something.
Because I'm like, there we go. Now he look better. I was fading and losing power. I'm like, oh
There
wait a
you
minute,
go.
I didn't plug it up.
There we go.
But yeah, you got to do what's best for you. Happy for you. But I gotta ask, you had a heavy sports background when it comes to softball. Have you thought of
Mhm.
going into coaching from that? Now that you're down there in Texas, and of course, softball and everything's big in Texas. But have you thought about anything along those lines?
Mm. Yeah, I mean, I'm just excited to just be an athlete again. And I think
Hmm.
competitors can understand me when I say this. In off season, you feel like an athlete because you're strong, you're fueled, you're fed, you're training, right? And you're training not for
Hmm.
aesthetics. I mean, you are still shooting for a shape, but at the end of the day, you're training for that performance. What does that look like when you pull up for practice? But then as you get closer to show, it becomes less of feeling like an athlete and more of almost a robot, right? Because you're
Yeah.
manipulating
Yeah.
variables, you're not as strong, your fatigue is there, and you're just honestly weak. So, in terms of that, it's exciting to know that I can be fueled, that I can go back to those roots of being an athlete because that's why I even picked up bodybuilding in the first place. And what's
Hmm.
funny is I never wanted to go into bodybuilding. I went into it because it was the safer option. When I was playing college softball, I was junior, and that's when I was like, next year I have to graduate, I have to hang up my heels, and I'm not gonna just not do anything. So
Yeah.
that's when I started, training in the gym, and I had a friend tell me, you should compete in bodybuilding. And so I had gone back and I told my coaches, and they were like, absolutely not. You are not gonna, or no, that's what it was. I wanted to power lift and do a meet, and they told me no.
Okay.
They said it's not safe. You're gonna, blow your back out. We're not losing our starting center fielder and first in the lineup. Like, do something else. So that's why I started bodybuilding because it was the safer route. Um, so that being said, I have a bunch of friends in the powerlifting space. Animal is very big in powerlifting with that background. So I have many resources if that's a route that I would want to begin. And so, yeah, I've kind of just been going back to,
Yep. I'm timing out. Hang on. Mm.
hold on, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you. It's just I went black. Why don't we do this? Let's go back. Let's go out and come back in. And we were already close to the end anyway, but let's go
Okay,
out and
perfect.
come back. Yeah, and come back in. All right.
Okay.
Bye. Okay, so I'm back up now. I'm moving. So I'm gonna wait on Amanda to come back in, and we can continue what she was talking about in reference to leaving the sport of women's bodybuilding. All right, better.
Let's see. Yeah. It's
Can you?
laggy,
Yep.
but that's okay. We're back. We're
Yeah.
back.
Yeah, we are, and I can.
Okay.
And so, will you see yourself now going into powerlifting, doing powerlifting meets? You got the Arnold's coming up with the powerlifting. Are you looking at local shows?
Yeah, I mean, I listen, I have no idea like to realm, which is funny, because I'm strong, but I don't know the perfect techniques. I don't know what the different brackets look like. I know that there's, my friend was telling me there's different weight classes and all those things. So I'm kind of just now getting into the logistics of it. But
Right.
I mean, I tested my numbers and she was like amazed and said they're essentially a lot of people's, meet numbers at their first meet. And it was me just, rolling out of
Hmm.
bed and just seeing, what I could do. So, she said, it's not like bodybuilding where you have to wait a long time before you compete. So I was thinking
Right.
maybe the spring would be fun to, get my feet wet and see what that looks like. I know
Hmm.
they do have a meet at the Arnold's. I'm not sure what the qualifications are for that, but if I could qualify for that, that would be awesome.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of just dabbling with everything. I've been going to a boxing class. That's been really fun. So yeah, just kind of letting my
Oh.
body
Yeah,
and savage
exactly. I
without
mean,
limits.
why not boxing? But like one of the
Yeah,
things I saw on your feed,
right.
you were out at the gun range. I was like, okay, I see you, and
Yes.
you were out shooting.
Train to
Yeah,
kill,
that was
Glenn, all
exciting.
areas.
What caliber were you
Yeah, it's
shooting?
been really cool.
You know,
Oh
what
gosh,
caliber were
I
you
have no
shooting?
idea. It was my friend's gun.
Oh, really?
I know. I have no idea. I
But you,
don't
you look
know any
legit.
listens about it. I'm just trying to learn. So I didn't
Yeah.
yeah, listen, I'm trying. I'm trying as long as it looks that way. But yeah, that's another thing, like, just crazy. I mean, guns and all that,
Hmm.
like, there's so much that goes into it, and it's just cool to
Oh,
see
yeah.
different crafts because I've spent so much time in one area where I'm like, "Oh my gosh, there's
Yeah.
different communities." I mean, there's competitions in shooting that I
Yeah.
could go into, so, yeah, there's so much beyond the stage that's really exciting to look forward to and be able to dabble into because I was locked in that lane for so long, I couldn't do anything else.
And
So,
a whole host of gun shows and stuff. And that's definitely something you can learn
yeah,
from the YouTube channel. I'm like, look at this. But
yes. Yeah,
and of course, you
I
mentioned,
think that was kind of
no, go ahead.
oh, no, I was gonna say, I think that that's a new thing I'm looking at is, like, how my content is gonna be moving forward, you know?
Right.
Um, which is cool. It doesn't have to be any specific thing. Now it's just kinda if they're following along, it's not to see me on a stage, but it's to see, like, my life and what I'm desiring to step into, so it's a
Yeah.
pretty cool open space.
Well, you look good lifting heavy weights. I mean, so you're very much a fitness influencer and a strong influencer in that
Mhm.
level that, with the sponsors, no way they were going to leave you at the pinnacle of it because, like I said, you are a heavy influencer and you have a heavy draw. So that's great. What did your sponsors say? Anything different though with Gaspari and
Yeah,
Animal?
so not Gaspari anymore, it's, Animal and,
Okay.
Gasp, yeah.
Gas. Yeah.
But, Animal, I haven't had my meeting with them. I know they've seen the content, so obviously they're aware, but I haven't, like, had a face-to-face conversation of what that looks like next. I think they'll be very excited to hear I'm planning to do a meet. So but again, like, I think the biggest question people had is, like, "What happens with your sponsors?" And I straight up
Hmm.
told them the same way I do about social media, like, "If I lose it all tomorrow, that's fine." Because if the only thing they wanted me for was that spotlight and that version of me, then I
Hmm.
don't have that to offer them anymore, and that's fine. You know what I mean? So, glory to God that I have not lost that they are more than excited for the next season. I had a really good, fruitful conversation with Michael Johansson, who's the owner of Gaston Bodies,
Hmm.
Gasp Better Bodies, and he was like, "I'm super proud of you." He's like, basically, he made the same decision at the same age. He said,
Right.
which that
Right.
I didn't know and was very cool. And he's like, "Yeah, there's so much more to life." He's like, "Go travel, go do what you want to do, like enjoy it." He's like, "Of course, that's always going to be a part of you, and you're always going to inspire people because that's the platform that the Lord gave me to steward. But now I can stand up on that." And
Hmm.
use it for other things beyond just that one realm. And so yeah, he was extremely supportive and I just re-signed my contract for them for 2026. So glory to God, I haven't lost the things that bodybuilding gave me.
Right.
And it's been very fruitful to see people, so many comments on that post and so many DMs of like, we started following you for that, right? Because that's what made your content reach us, but we're staying for you. And that's been
Well done. Yes.
a really fruitful blessing because yeah, we're more than competitors. I'll forever be a bodybuilder, but I
Hmm.
won't always be up there in heels. And so if that's what people, desire me for, then that's the end of that season.
Yeah.
So
Well, you still in the gym lifting weights, and you talk about powerlifting meets
I'm lifting more than I was.
and things like that. But I mean, that still goes hand in hand with animal because
Right.
they're supplements. So
Yes. Hmm.
no biggie there is really the same thing, but in a different niche, in a different level because powerlifting is big. You
Hmm.
know, so good on them for that. And excited to see you on stage. You're on a different stage.
Hmm. Mm-hmm.
And we talk about James Diaz photography, because we say all these names, not people who really know, like
Mm-hmm.
Sandy Williams, who's the head judge. Um, did you have any other promoters reach out to you, or uh, fellow competitors? What was their thoughts?
Um, yeah, I've had some other competitors reach out, or other people in the industry, and honestly, their
Hmm.
thoughts are the same. I think the biggest word that I've heard on repeat is like bold. A lot of people are like, that was bold of you to do, because I think that there's so many more people in the same space that I am, but they're
Right,
not willing to lay it down. And I was once there also. You know, if you asked me if I would make this decision 2 years ago, I would have said, you're out of your mind. You know,
right,
I'm going to suffer through it because this is what I'm supposed to do, you know, and this is all that I know. But I think, yeah, there's a lot of young women coming up in the sport or that are in the sport, and they have
mhm,
those same emotions and feelings. They're just not willing to, you know, sit with the discomfort of it and change their identity for the next season. And I pray that they someday do.
right.
Um, but I also know how challenging that is. But yeah, I think the biggest thing for some people was shock, because that's all they
Hmm.
saw me as.
Hmm.
Where as for the people that are closest to me, they knew that it was going to come at some point, because you know I had been vocalizing, you know, that
Yeah,
after that season I wouldn't have needed. I said, if I am going to keep going, I need a long off season,
yeah, yeah,
long. And then when it turned from me thinking about long to like, I don't know that I, if you gave me another year and a half, I would even want to step on, because my life would be
right.
so different. That's when I knew. I was like, it's not a waiting game. It's just a lack of desire. And it's, again, it's okay. So,
And the biggest thing about it is you giving so many of them out there were thinking the same thing. They just don't have the courage to
hmm
do it. So hopefully that
hmm
will change, because they're just things at the end of the day you're not willing to give up.
yeah.
Not your health, not the fact that you want to be a mother one day, because let's face it, this sport can take that based on the enormity of time and everything that you're taking with the different um, peptides or what have you.
hmm hmm
I don't think people really dial in on how dangerous the sport is until someone passes away. But
Yep.
this is really a dangerous sport that you are in.
Yeah, it's extreme. And I think that's another thing that I had to basically explain to the people, like, oh my gosh, what? We really wanted to see you. And I'm like, and this
Hmm.
isn't to sound harsh, it's just to tell the truth boldly, is no one is doing it for me. So as
No,
much as people want to cheer me on and I love seeing you and congratulations, they're only there
as a
when I'm on
yeah,
the stage.
yeah,
The other
exactly.
100% of the time, ain't nobody
Yeah,
on the
they didn't see the
Stairmaster when
last
I'm
9 months. They didn't see the last
no,
6 to 8
nobody's
weeks.
there when I'm waking
Yeah,
up at 3:30 in the morning to
yep.
go do, you know, fasted cardio before teaching my kids all that. Like nobody's doing it for me. So I can't
Hmm.
make those decisions off of people just clapping, you know, and I think bodybuilding is such a beautiful sport, but it can be a sport where you start to fixate and get obsessed with the worldly things, like the
Right.
appraisal from other people. Am I going to lose the followers? Oh, if I stop posting
Yeah,
content of me shredded, I'm not going to get as many likes, you know? And I
yeah,
say this all the time to people, me posting me in an oversized animal sweater, you know, is not going to get the same likes as me in a bikini
yeah.
4 weeks out. It's
Exactly.
not.
Yeah,
And so I, that's okay. Like I'm
yeah.
willing to put that all down, you know? So I think that not just for
But at
me,
the
but
end
for
of the day,
anyone.
how artificial was that?
Right. Yes. Yeah.
And you got to be true to yourself at the end of the day. So like so many jump out there and say, "Well, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that." Hey, that video, that photo shoot, that whatever you're doing out there on the dark web, that follows you for a long time, and
Amen.
you
Yeah.
grow to regret it. So I mean, and it's not knocking or judging anyone, but just be well informed about the decision that you make, and if you can live with it at the end of the day, good on you. But
hmm
because it really comes back to you and what you're comfortable with, no one else.
hmm
As fans, yeah, shoot, fans, we'd have you doing 5 shows a year.
Right.
Uh, and
Exactly.
it's been
Till the wheels
amazing to
fall
see
off.
you on stage, and it's still amazing to see you
hmm
from your standpoint, because you bring so much to the table. Like I said, that gun shoot, that's a whole nother photo shoot there. 'Cause I'm like,
Yeah. I'm
and
so hyped.
you as well as you were
Yeah.
doing, you really looked experienced. I was going to ask her, well, dang, does she have her concealed carry? Because of course, I had mine and stuff. I'm like, but that's another
Yeah.
whole. And you're the best state, the best
I'm like, Glenn, I don't
gunslinging
know. I'm
state
just shooting
in
the thing.
Texas. There's no more gun-friendly state than Texas, for sure.
Listen, we're in it. We're in it. Gotta be prepared. Listen, stay
Yeah,
ready so you don't gotta get ready. You feel
there
me?
you go. There you go. And especially this time of season, you know.
Yeah, yeah. It's been fun. It's
Yeah.
exciting because I mean, there's so many different pieces to me that people didn't
Mhm.
see because all they saw was the glitz, glam,
So
and
many
muscle.
layers. Yeah, exactly.
So many layers. It's like an onion that keeps peeling back, and it's cool to finally be comfortable in sharing that because I felt
Right.
like, I only posted one way because that's what made my identity. But at the end of the
Mhm.
day, if everyone's going to keep following along, they're going to see all those little bits and pieces that they haven't seen, the intellect, the emotional depth, having fun in different hobbies.
Mhm.
So,
Well, I got to ask you, since we're talking about guns, and both of us being teachers,
mhm.
uh, being in Texas and me being in North Carolina, do you think teachers should have guns in the classroom? Do you think
Absolutely.
they carry guns?
I would love it. I think
Yeah.
we should all be number one, we should all be trained far more than we are.
Yes.
And I think in today's day and age, 1,000%. Look at all the
Yep.
school shootings that have happened. I
Yes.
mean, lives could have been saved instantly if an
Yeah.
educator had access and was
And
trained.
there was just a knife incident at West Forsyth High School here, where a student stabbed
Wow.
another kid. And so, yeah, it's out there. This is the world we live in. People just don't understand. And yeah,
Mm-mm.
you got to be trained for it. And I was joking like, hey, it just is what it is. Unfortunately, we can say,
Mhm.
well, you can never say that this will never happen
Yeah.
because I've seen it. And we've been
Yeah.
on so many code reds this semester. And, you know,
Yeah,
uh,
especially in the high school with you guys. I
exactly.
mean,
Yes. Yes.
it's not just the threat is not from the outside, but for you guys, it's the inside, really, because those kids had
Exactly.
access to things we don't even.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that code yellow, and hey, it is what it is, and that'll have you rethinking. And but we chose to do it at the end of the day,
Hmm.
uh, teaching or not. But yeah, and me being prior military and retired from the military, so yeah, of course, I'd be in my comfort zone carrying.
Yes. The kids are probably like, I want him to be my teacher.
There you, hey, there you go.
My kids say the
Well, it
same
feels
thing.
safe with you. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you're right.
Yeah. We add a little, I mean, as it should be. As it should be. I mean, we are supposed to be a safe place, not just emotionally, but physically. It's
Exactly.
like we said, in these days, I think every single teacher should be trained. I mean, if we're not going to be able to carry, then whether it
Exactly.
be, physical fighting, like we need to go through more intensive training. We really do.
Yeah.
Because to just have a master's degree and be thrown into a classroom when it's our job to defend lives every day and we don't realize
Mhm.
it, that's an issue. And granted, we have the upside of you have past military training. I'm strong,
Mhm.
I'm athletic and all the things. And I have friends who have taught me a lot about, shooting and all the things, but there needs to be like some mandatory courses because at the end
Oh
of the
yeah.
day, we are the sole defender for them.
And at the end of the day, those that were prior military, geez, it's our comfort zone. Like this,
Mhm.
hey, I'm used to this.
Mhm.
Uh, you hope that it doesn't happen, but it just is what it is.
Yeah.
And then I got one of my teacher buddies. He's retired special forces, so I mean that's a whole different animal. If I get him,
Yeah.
and then the kids be like, "Yo, Coach Evans," oh man, it's like, yeah. So
He's a
it is
savage.
what
Yep.
it is.
If
We
there's a
have
trouble,
stories.
I'm gonna call
When
him.
you they say, "Tell me a war story." I'm like, oh, okay, but
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
just the
And
way it
that's
is.
good for them to see.
Yeah,
They need
it
to be
is.
exposed to that.
Amanda, I really appreciate you coming on and sharing and being very candid about your decision. It
Mhm.
was a shock. Was big news because everybody was so much enamored with you as a fan in the sport, and you were definitely on your come up. But now, nothing has really changed because those that are true to you are going to be true to you, and
Mhm.
you didn't lose anything. But at the end of the day, it's not worth sacrificing your health, the fact of having a child, um, and being a spouse as well, because you have to give up so much for this sport, and you do sacrifice relationships. Um,
Mhm.
and so, I mean, it just is because for that time period that you're getting ready for the show, and right after you can't be with them because you're
Yeah.
you're in the zone for this one thing. So,
Yeah.
so good on you. Looking forward to you. Don't forget the article, and we'll
Yes.
talk soon. Thanks for coming on.
Yes. Thank you so much for having me on, Glenn, always.
Right on time as I froze again. So anyway. Talk soon.
All right, bye.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
As I'm frozen, we're gonna go ahead and end this because going live is what it is. Connectivity is what it is. But I'm so thankful that she came on to tell her and explain her own decision as to why she's no longer competing again. And everyone has all sports come to an end. At the end of the day, you got to do you. Speaking of which, go out on Amazon's fitmag.com and order your copy of the magazines, the latest issues that's out. Michelle Mensa is going to be at the Arnold's competing. I can't wait to go to Columbus and see her again. But go out there, get her a copy of the magazine so you can get in line on Meet the Pros night and get her to sign it for you. As always, thanks for all the support, all those that have followed, those that have subscribed to Amazon's Fit Mag. Buy the magazine, support the women of bodybuilding, and I will see you next time.